Radio Free Skaro!
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Radio Free Skaro, episode number 907. I am Stephen in Edmonton.
Warren in Vancouver.
And Chris in Edmonton.
If you're in Western Canada, maybe just Alberta, I don't know. Maybe actually parts of the States, too, apparently this is happening because of us. So we're sorry. But there's I can barely see downtown from where I'm sitting right now because of wildfire smoke. It's great. It's fun. It's fantastic.
I can't even see Motolo Orionsis.
Wiped out in the Alberta wildfires.
You said all that, and I just had it's the sound. You know, whenever they show the death zone and it goes, Bwah! That's the sound that should go with the wildfires.
Oh, if only I had that queued up, Warren, I would have played that right there, but I don't. Yeah. It's fun. It's fun. I remember when I somewhat overly vociferously defended Orphan 55 for its bludgeoning message at the end about environmentalism. Well, here we are. Here it is. This is like just your, hey, well, what's the smoke index today? Because of all the
now,
wildfires.
Orphan 55 haters? I guess I showed you.
You know, this used to, the wildfires, I mean, I am old enough to remember the wildfire season starting in June or July, but now it's in May that we have to endure forest fire smoke.
But Stephen, if it wasn't for diversity and critical race theory, there wouldn't be wildfires, please.
That's a good point, actually, yeah, because climate change is not real, and it just means that
everyone in Alberta, vote, we beg of you.
Yeah, it just means longer summers and slightly warmer temperatures. I mean, I can get used to that. Wait a second.
Oh, yeah.
Fires start in warmer temperatures when things are dry? What?
In a traditionally wet province like Alberta, yeah.
Yeah, so kind of bacon in here too. Like the forecast is going to be 29 today. Wow, 29. Oh, but you won't be able to breathe the air. Oh, okay.
Or open the windows.
Yeah, so got the air purifiers. It's funny. We bought an air purifier for Gallifrey One, you know, mostly for COVID reasons and stuff. And we liked it so much that we shipped it back. We were just going to sort of like, hey, do you want a free air purifier? But we shipped it back. And the funny thing is that once we shipped it back here and it arrived and I put it together again, and I noticed, wait a second, there's plastic on the filter. and then I noticed, oh wait, there's a card here that says, before using this air purifier, please remove the plastic because it will do nothing with the plastic on. Also, it's a fire hazard, and it was going literally all weekend. The only time we stopped is when we interviewed Chris Chibnall in the room. We could have killed Chris Chibnall in a hotel fire because of a malfunctioning air purifier. Yeah.
And the notoriety from the interview was that would have paled in comparison.
Can you imagine the click farming we would have gotten if we burned ourselves alive? Yeah, great reason.
Yeah, with Chris Chibnall, without anywhere to go. I mean, we could have just hopped the second floor. We would have maybe broken our ankle having hopped to safety on the balcony, but
because I wasn't there, that means I'd have to find replacements for you too.
Yeah, you would have.
Pretty easy, probably.
Yeah, probably.
And Chris Chibnall, that would be your job for some reason.
Yeah, yes, you'd have to find a different.
RTD was already there by then, so he's fine.
That's true. Yeah.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah, surplus to requirements. Anyway, a weirdly slow news week this week. Given that last week we had a trailer before Eurovision and like titles dropped and everything like this, and then like radio silence from everything else. So very, very odd. So today is it's an all fluid. We have done an all fluid links episode in quite some time actually. So this is kind of fun. We're gonna have some fun questions and comments by you, the listeners. Or if you're watching the audio version of this on YouTube, the viewers, then
we haven't done fluid links since Advent stuff, right?
Correct.
That's quite a while.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's been almost 5 months.
Yeah, we do for those that are new. In December we do a fluid links question each day. From December 1st to 24th, leading up to what in the olden days was the Doctor Who Christmas special, and appears to be once again this coming year. This year will be different though, because usually we record these like well in advance, and and put up in, maybe video versions like we did last year. It probably won't happen this year just because the 60th anniversary will be happening, and if we record everything in advance, we'll be like, it won't be current is what I mean to say, because come November there'll be new David Tennant episodes and we'll find out more about Ncuti Gatwa, so we probably won't do that. They'll probably be a little more off the cuff this coming holiday season.
Yeah, once we have actual broadcast dates and stuff, then we can start making plans and decisions.
My guess is still that Thanksgiving weekend, 23rd, 24th, 25th.
3 days successively.
One a day. Yeah, that's my guess. It's a guess. I don't know. It's this isn't on the news list, but just off the top of it. So Disney, I think Loki is coming October 12th, I want to say, the second season of Loki to Disney Plus. It's coming one episode a week, as they usually do. They're dropping Echo, which is a Marvel spin-off from a Marvel spin-off. Is that right, Warren? It's the Winter Falcon Soldier show. No, is that the one?
Wait,
no, Hawkeye.
Daredevil. No, Hawkeye, yes. I lose track myself.
Even you're losing track, yeah. Anyway, they're dropping all the episodes at once. November 29th, for some reason. I don't know why they're doing that.
You'd think, given the writer's strike, they'd want to stretch it out one way or the other.
Yeah. I mean, obviously that Loki must end before Echo does.
Maybe, yeah. I don't know if they're tied together in any way, but...
I have no idea. I don't know these things anymore. We'll probably watch Quantumania at some point this weekend because it's on Disney Plus now. And
you will hate it because it's Marvel, so you'll hate it.
Yeah, probably.
So you'll just watch it out of spite as per usual.
Yeah, you know how it goes.
Also, people watch a lot of stuff on Disney. I don't have the whole list, but they are dropping a bunch of stuff, probably because people want residuals, and they're like, maybe not.
Yeah, Willow is gone. Willow is come and gone.
A pile of money on it, I think. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, the show Willow, which, Chris, I know you watched, I think, and maybe you enjoyed it. I don't know.
I did.
Erica watched one episode and says, this is written for, preteens.
Yep, that was me. It was for, which is fine, just not for me. So.
No, and anyway, it's gone. It's going to be gone. They made it, and they says, instead of paying people residuals, we're going to remove it from the service, which is amusing, given that is precisely what the writers are striking about the lack of residuals, and are currently striking. So, yeah. So we'll see what happens with the old Disney Plus here, and the entire back catalog of modern Doctor Who supposedly coming there. I mean, it was never confirmed in the first place. We're just assuming that. Why wouldn't it be?
Yeah, that's a vain hope on our parts. We don't know yet.
Yeah, so. It's still not anywhere in Canada. It disappeared off Crave in early January, and it hasn't come back. I think it's listeners on Twitter responded to my question last week or 2 weeks ago that it's still on HBO Max down there, but how long that lasts is given HBO Max's, Max. Have to get up with the rebranding where it's going to be. We just assume it's going to Disney Plus, but it might not. Maybe it'll go nowhere. Like right now, it's you can't watch Doctor Who in Canada. I think you should start watching, but you can't. It's not anywhere. Can't find it. So. Sorry about that. You can watch classic Doctor Who on 4 different free streaming services, I think, but you can't watch modern Doctor Who now. So it's very, very odd. Interesting. I want to point out too, just tie in Doctor Who in the States and stuff. San Diego Comic-Con is coming up in a couple months from now. I still intend to be there. I'm still waiting for Doctor Who stuff to happen, but the apparently I just had this sent to me. The San Diego Comic-Con unofficial blog thinks Doctor Who is pretty likely to come there because of the writer's strike. Since they aren't affected, it's still going on, and they could be the biggest name there at the con. This is the SDCC unofficial blog, so I might want to listen to that later and get my hopes up, because if there's Doctor Who stuff happening, if there's an official Doctor Who presence there in terms of the TV show and stuff, I am going to be there. So, and they're right, there won't be any writers there. So I don't know. Does that cross not a picket line? Would writers be picketing Comic-Con and for some reason?
No, not really. Yeah. You're not writing it. If you're promoting a show, I don't see how there's a problem with that. If you're a writer, you probably should be striking instead of but if you're a foreign show that has nothing to do with the WGA, which it doesn't, as far as I know, then there shouldn't be a problem with that, really. I mean, and RTD would be first to yell solidarity with the writers while sitting in front of 2,000 people in Hall H, right? So
that's true.
So in that sense, it's probably good for them.
That's true. Well, we'll find out. We're pretty much reliant on Disney Plus to announce this, foot the bill, because it's probably their thing. So this is why Russell T Davies is saying hopefully, maybe, no promises in the Doctor Who magazine not too long ago.
Usually that means yes, though, when he says that kind of stuff.
Yeah, if he didn't lead into it, it's like, well, if he's he's just raising our hopes just to dash them if that's the case. So we shall see. Anyway, there were titles and covers revealed for the 60th anniversary novels, tie-in novels that we mentioned a while back, but none of us could remember when we mentioned them or what we talked about in regards to them before recording. But they're coming out October 26th. There are 6 stories. Imaginary Friends, a 1960 story by Jacqueline Rayner with I could tell because that's a William Hartnell silhouette on the cover. And then there's The Cradle, a 1970 story with looks like Peter Capaldi, actually. Is that Peter Capaldi? It is Peter Capaldi. The 12th Doctor, and I'm just literally reading these as I'm telling you about them. There's a Tom Baker one called The Self-Made Man, a 1980 story. That is by Mark Griffiths. 1990s is represented by Wannabes by Dave Rudden with the David Tennant silhouette on it. Christopher Eccleston takes the cake with The Monster in the Cupboard by Kaylin Bayron. Bayron sounds like a good Doctor Who villain name, I gotta tell you. Mm-hmm. The Angel of Redemption, a 2010 story by Nikita Gill, which looks like a Matt Smith one, and then that's it. I must have skipped one when I scrolled, or I named all 6 and I forgot about it. But they're all available now for pre-order for October 26th, which is leading up to the 60th anniversary of Doctor Who. Books.
Yay books.
Books. Let's move to Big Finish. Big Finish Audacity. Doctor Who 8th Doctor Adventures Audacity, which is a free audio app that all of us are recording on right now. It's also the name of...
Paul McGann is transcribing everything as we say it.
Yes. With his dulcet tones for the inevitable audio book of this podcast.
Maybe, I don't know, unless Big Finish is just running out of names and just think, wow, we're recording on Audacity. Audacity, there we go. There it is right there, Doctor Who Audio Hijack coming soon to Big Finish. Anyway, Doctor Who Audacity features Jay Griffiths, who debuts as the noblewoman Lady Audacity. Montague.
Great name.
I know, it is a great name. Who is propelled from Regency, England, perhaps in the very same Doctor Who episode that they're filming right now in England with Ncuti Gatwa, into the far future in the middle of the war between the Cybermen and the Vogons. And there they are, Revenge of the Cybermen era, Cybermen and Vogons and Nerva Beacon, all on the cover of this Audacity cover.
Well, one of my favorite things about Big Finish covers is how they'll have the villains and sort of the little CBS drama triangle that they have on these covers, and they're just kind of hanging. These Revenge of the Cybermen guys just kind of hanging out, standing out, looking off on the side. I wonder if Christopher Robbie is back to do the voice of the Cyber Leader. I would like that very much. And here's the old tin can you tucked into.
Yep. You can hear his hands on hips even when he's delivering. He's not in this. Christopher Robbie's not in this, but I think he's still with us too. But anyway, that's that coming from Big Finish. You can pre-order it now, bigfinish.com. Chris, you were on a podcast as of no, is it out yet or it's coming out? It's coming out soon. Is that right?
Coming out on Friday.
Friday, the 26th. What podcast is it and what's it about?
All of Time and Space with Mark Cockerman, and Ian Martin, and talked about Tomb of the Cybermen. Tomb of the Cybermen.
How much you universally love it. I don't know what your opinion is of Tomb, actually. I don't know.
Fairly positive, yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Well, that's fun. Erica and I were on a podcast with Mark Cockerman a long time ago. I like Mark Cockerman. He's good. And his name is a palindrome, which is fun.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, it totally is. So that's cool. Warren, you're on a Max Headroom podcast coming up that same weekend. You have to battle your ear. It's the battle of the Radio Free Skaro spinoff podcast that weekend.
Well, if you want to hear 6 middle-aged dudes talking about Max Headroom, and boy, do you. That's, it's on the incomparable.
I know, that's my Friday night sorted out.
Yeah.
Yeah, Max Headroom. I don't remember, because it was on ABC, but I don't remember it ever being on when I was a kid growing up. Like, what, 87, 88 is when
they
that was?
kind of buried it. Like, it was put up against Dallas and Miami Vice, and it was dead in the water.
Yeah.
Like, that was on purpose, obviously. It's well, as you'll hear in the podcast, it was this, as I put it, very 1980s and yet weirdly timeless. Like, you watch it now and you're like, yeah, a lot of this is very big hair and shoulder pads, but a lot of it is fairly prescient, frankly.
Yeah.
So,
from what I could tell from listening to the podcast, which I edited, so that's the only reason I know about it. But yeah, and all I know is the Art of Noise song "Paranoia," which featured Max Headroom in it.
Which is excellent.
It is, yeah. Art of Noise, underrated '80s band. You can call it a band. I don't know what they were, but it's good stuff. Good stuff. Podcasts coming your way. Like, this is a podcast right now. Listening to this, you can listen to that. So there. All right. We'll get to the Timelash later on. But it's a very exciting time because we as Chris said, I don't think we've done this in a year. It's crazy.
Well, half a year.
Well, I mean a full proper Fluid Links episode.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
So anyway, kids, it's time to play Fluid Links.
Do you know what this is? Fluid Link K57.
Ah, yes, of course, the Fluid Link.
What's a fluid link?
No idea.
Fluid Links, questions and comments submitted by you, the listener, all about various different doctors. We've had some in the cookie jar here for a while, but we also put the call out for some new ones as well. So yeah, let's without further ado, here's our first Fluid Link. And the first question is this from Michelle _212. You get to create the next new monster. What does they look like? What makes them a threat? What is the fatal flaw that lets the doctor save the day? Creating a new monster. What do you make? How do you make a new monster? Do you make it like
Here's my idea.
All right.
And it's based on reality. It is a holograph of an AI/crypto devotee on social media. And you delete it is what you do, because you block it, because it inevitably has a big blue check for a head. And all it does is blather incessant nonsense and tell you how useless you are and how Hollywood is totally done because there's 6 pictures of mannequins drifting through a screen. So yes, through the blocking of them. I don't know maybe they're called the blocked, because that's what people did to them.
No, they call them
in the midst of time.
Maybe the block. They're actually called the block, and they're like an NFT or something. They're just on the blockchain or something. Yeah. And it's just like this virtual.
Yeah, actually perfect. Yes. The block.
It's called the block.
Then the episode title could be Attack the Block.
Attack the Block.
It could be, yes.
There it is.
Or Attack of the Block to avoid any copyright or NFT concerns.
Yeah, you might have to do that. Yeah, and it would just, I like that. I like that it's an NFT monster. And the thing is,
its power is endless blather.
Yeah, and the funny thing is that it's a pure historical in a sense, because there's no real science fiction, because it's really actually existing right now.
But would the NFT monster eventually would it just lose its power and then just fade itself out, kind of thing? Is that how it ends?
It would talk itself into oblivion. Yes. Like, what power does it actually have?
Yeah, it would, and it has no power. It just sort of like, well, wait a second. There's nothing here, and then it just sort of realizes and fades out.
Can it have a pet digital monkey?
Yes, there's the army. Yeah, the army of various different creatures that Doctor Who has to battle are just an army of like bored apes, each of them looking slightly different than the other, and they just they attack him, and they just sort of like use, I don't know, hopefully not a screwdriver, but some sort of hastily improvised weapon to sort of cut through swaths of bored apes.
Oh, God.
I know.
What a nightmare.
God, we came up with this way too quickly. This writes itself. This is it. The Block is the new villain coming in Ncuti Gatwa's second season. Sorry, they're already recording. There's no time for this. So there you go, Russell T Davies. There's your monster coming up for the Ncuti Gatwa's second season. It's called The Block. It's an NFT monster. And you just have to pull the plug on some data farm in rural Iceland or something to try and kill its power. It's kind of like
The Wire from Tennant's era, but not quite.
Not quite. Or like
for copyright purposes, it is different.
Yeah, or the spoonheads in the Bells of St. John, that sort of thing. Yeah.
And just like those monsters, very unpopular.
Never coming back. One and done.
Exactly. One and done. Exactly.
The block. Perfect. Look at that. Oh, we're off and running here, folks. This is great. Here we go. Next fluid link. And it is this here. Joshua Hammock's needing some courage here. I know most Doctor Who fans are excited about Davies and Tennant coming back. I am not. Any chance you can assuage my fears? Warren, how about you? Because you've been mildly trepidatious about all this.
Not just kind of middling on it. It's like, I understand why 60th anniversary, and like I don't dislike Tennant as a Doctor or RTD as a showrunner. I just like the more of the sameness of it kind of bugs me. But I haven't seen it yet, so it could be great for all I know,
right.
And I'll probably enjoy it. So. I mean, it's RTD. The he knows what he's doing. Like he's had he's had some misses. So have all the other showrunners, and he'll have a few here, but probably some hits. He's had 10 years to think about more stuff he wants to do with Doctor Who. So
right.
And Tennant is always entertaining no matter what. Like, I mean, so even if I think a Doctor regenerating back into an old Doctor is kind of a dumb idea, although I must admit it isn't Day of the Doctor, which also irritated me, even though it's Tom Baker, who is awesome. So
it depends.
I don't know why it bugs me so much. It's just the idea of the old Doctor thing. I think it was like Matt Smith regenerating back into Matt Smith. I'd be just as annoyed, right. Even if I liked his Doctor better.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not really answering the question. How is it?
No.
I mean, it'll probably be decent. Like I'm gonna watch it no matter what, and I'll probably enjoy it. And then when Shooty shows up, I'll probably like that too. So
yeah, Chris, I know that you were somewhat famously not a David Tennant fan during his original run.
No,
and
nor a big RTD fan either.
No. How are you feeling about this? Do you feel any different than Joshua here? That maybe you can help assuage his fears.
As I've said before, I'm trying to take a wait and see sort of attitude.
Yep.
And
same here.
It's like Warren says, it's not like we're not going to watch them. Of course we're going to watch them.
Mm-hmm.
What we think of them, well, we'll find out at the time. And what we think of them at the time, well, 5 years after that, it'll be probably something quite different. So
yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I don't know. I look forward to it from a curiosity perspective, but I kind of also agree with Warren on the whole sameness thing. Like Doctor Who thrives on moving on, but with so much nostalgia and callbacks and whatever thrown into it, which keeps Stephen happy.
I love callbacks. I love pointing out.
You love callbacks on Doctor Who and nowhere else.
You know what? No, every time I watch, I go, "Oh no, you're not going to get this. Oh, this is exactly what I poo Marvel about when they do this now, referencing their."
And then you do your ATST dance.
Yeah.
Now, having said it's a 60th anniversary, so there is a reason for all this callbackery.
Yeah. Exactly. And it's going to happen in a weekend, probably, or at the very least, just over 3 episodes and then run new things.
Like
so
maybe a month, who knows?
It's a splash. It's making a splash to sort of say, hey, look at this, RTD is back doing Doctor Who. He wants to do it again, which is quite, amazing in and of itself for someone to want to come back to Doctor Who after being away for so long, knowing exactly what, all that entails and everything. I think it's going to be neat because this, all the way leading in RTD's first tenure, Doctor Who wasn't a global hit at that time. It only came to BBC America, which, to its credit, helped launch the show a lot more in the States. And that happened at the very tail end of his time on Doctor Who. It only became a worldwide thing in the early Matt Smith era. And now look at this. Now he gets to come in and says, wow, this thing that I created that has now become a worldwide phenomenon, I get to sort of play in the sandbox now. It'll be exciting to see what he does.
Tennant still got to go to Comic-Con and kiss John Barrowman, so.
True.
I was going to say that, with Disney Plus backing it, oh, wait. Just like that cult hit Willow.
Yeah. I think it's, you know what? I like the idea of having someone, having done it before, coming back and returning, but also with Doctor Who in a much different state than it was when they left. And that's interesting because we always thought, oh, like what would happen if Philip Hinchcliffe came back and did an episode or something like that, like, or whatever it was. And it's just like, that would be kind of interesting, wouldn't it? Because, what would he do? Or like, David Tennant decided late in the day that he wasn't going to come back to do the series 5, but it would have been interesting to see what would happen if, Steve Moffat wrote a full season of Dave Tennant Doctor Who. And so there's an intriguing element to that. We rarely get that chance to have someone from the past of Doctor Who come back to do it again, or someone. Indeed, how is David Tennant going to play this Doctor, this 14th Doctor, who isn't the 10th, but quite clearly is certainly recognized, will be acting like him, as being the 10th. So there's a whole fascinating aspect to that I'm intrigued about, and it'll be over. The David Tennant era, the 14th Doctor era, will be over in 3 episodes, and then we can move on to some very exciting Ncuti Gatwa stuff. If you don't like the return of Tennant and stuff like that, well, there's a new Doctor right around the corner.
Who will be told what the hell is going on.
Yeah, finally.
And the 14th Doctor's era will still be longer than the 8th.
Wow.
Yeah, how about that, eh? Well. Anyway, I hope you'll look forward to it. I hope since you submitted that question, maybe you've already begun to look forward to it a little more, and maybe we helped convince you that it's not as bad as all that. So we'll find out in November.
It's only potentially mild cancer. Come on.
Wow.
This is a Star Trek we're talking about. Come on.
I know. On that note, next fluid link. This one comes from Rude Velvet _Rude on Twitter. From the selection of outfits we have seen Ncuti sporting on set, which one would you pick as a permanent costume? So we've seen 4 so far, from what I gather, from ones that I've seen. I haven't done that much deep diving, but the original launch one, which is the orange sweater with the sort of the plaid coat and trousers, and then there's the other one, which is sort of the 70s version with a long leather coat and a deep V that he's wearing, and like some running shoes, and then the 1960s one, the striped suit and the afro and stuff, and then the Regency one that came out just last week. So those are the 4 that we know of. Which of those would be your pick as a permanent costume?
60s with the fro is great. It's glorious. I love it.
It's fantastic. But would that suit sort of play when he's running around a spaceship or something like that?
Well, none of them do. I mean, did Tom Baker's outfit play when he's running around a spaceship? They're all ridiculous outfits. Did a cricket outfit played nowhere except in whatchamacallit? The
Black Orchid.
Thank you, Black Orchid.
Yeah.
I don't know why I couldn't remember the name.
Yeah. I mean, I do like them all. I mean, the Regency one would seem out of place. It'd be look like you're cosplaying.
Yeah, but so did the first Doctor. It's like they always look at it. The 6th Doctor never looked in place anywhere. So
that's true. Chris, what about you? Do you have a thought on this about which one would be your pick as a permanent costume? Because we don't know which one is.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with instead with the press photo of when Ncuti Gatwa was first announced, where he was wearing that black tunic kind of thing, shirtless.
Yeah, I know.
He said he loves getting his chest out, so it wouldn't surprise me if we got some sort of chesty thing.
Oh yeah,
was that the BAFTA?
That was his announcement. Yeah, his unveiling, his debut, his debutante. Yeah,
I'm gonna go with that one just because. I don't know. There's gonna be some plot line somewhere. There's got to be where they go to. I don't know. They go to Telos or something, and he's cold, and he has to get warm, and gets turn into a Cyberman to warm up or something. And
you don't have a guy that in shape and not put him in his undies or something. Right. Like it's gonna happen. Like
I know. Yeah.
I mean, if Christopher Eccleston and Matt Smith and
David
others, Tennant can all go topless, and they got dad bods ish or near enough.
No offense.
And then you got Ncuti Gatwa, who's ripped.
Yeah. Goes to the gym. This is how he does it. He's not bored of that. He eats well and he goes to the gym. This is why he looks so good. It's stupid. Yeah, stupid show off, Ncuti Gatwa. How dare you?
Seems far fetched. Yeah, that doesn't seem like a method that would work.
I know. Yeah, you have to think. You have to think we haven't seen all of his outfits or lack thereof when it comes to this first season of Doctor Who, right? Probably.
If I had a second choice, it's going to be Ryan Gosling's Ncuti Gatwa t-shirt.
That would be awesome.
That would be amazing. I want him to wear that at Comic-Con if he's coming. That'd be funny. Yeah, I don't know. I think, I mean, it's weird because we all sort of like ingrained in our head that first look that they came out with as, oh, wow, there's Doctor Who's costume, and that's what he's going to be in every single episode. And then it wasn't. So now we have no idea how many episodes he's actually going to be wearing. You know, one assumes the Regency outfit is confined to the Regency episode, and but the other ones, like the first two, I don't know about. The 60s one, I think is probably just 60s based, but the other two are probably maybe a little more flexible when it comes to where they show up. So I don't know when they show up. I do like the first one. I have to say I do kind of like the first one just because it does fit that Doctor look. And I mean, it's just the traditionalist in me saying that, but you know, it's easily adaptable to different adventures. Whereas I think the other two period ones are probably a little more shocking if they're seen outside of context. You know, Warren? Yeah.
Here's what I'm looking forward to, given the limitations. Like when Tennant in the Christmas Invasion was looking through that wardrobe, and it was, you know, obviously something they did shot after the fact in this tiny little room. They need a shot where he walks into the TARDIS wardrobe and then they pull back into this huge wardrobe, like it goes on for miles.
Yeah, just like here we are. What are we wearing? Like it's like the actual
Could
choosing.
Be anything. Who knows?
Yeah, the choosing of the outfit scene. It was like, oh, we've been here for 3 hours, Doctor. What are we doing here?
That's the studio cam footage.
Yeah,
it's 25 hours of choosing different outfits.
Just that, nothing else.
And Steven slaps down money to buy it.
Oh, yes.
A special steel book.
I 100% would. 100% would watch all that. Yeah. I know. Looking good, though. Looking good. If reference to our previous question, look forward to the outfits that Ncuti Gatwa's going to wear. That is probably the most exciting thing that's going to be happening in the future here. It's looking pretty good. Any one of them would work, to be honest. But yeah, you know, I think so. All right. Next, Fluid Link. All right. Here we go. Stephen Lepitak asks, addressing the rumor, what do you think would lure Stephen Moffat back to write for the show, having not long said he would never write for it again? How would you lure him back? Money? Would you lure him back with money?
Probably not money. I mean, he's probably got plenty of opportunities to do whatever he wants. So
probably. What would you do to lure him back? Twist his arm, because you know.
Didn't he have carte blanche to begin with in the first RTD series, like that he could write what he wanted, and RTD went screw with it?
That's a very good point, actually. He did kind of, didn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, he had final say.
Yeah.
So he'd have that again if he did, I would assume.
Don't you dare edit me, Russell the Davies.
Well, I mean, if he had that then, and he's, you know, done his stint as a showrunner, etc., then there's no reason to expect he wouldn't have that again.
Yeah, I think past showrunners are kind of like, you know, ex-presidents. You still get like Secret Service members, and you get 3, you know, assassinations with no questions asked
Per year. Yeah,
per year. Wanda, it was per year.
Per year. Yeah.
So one would think that Moffat has BBC Secret Service people,
the well-known BBC Secret Service
at his side, and they will provide assassinations free of charge and no questions asked. So watch your back, Eric Sayward, because I think Moffat's coming for you.
Michael Grade, your days are over.
Oh, Michael, yeah, just like, oh man. I mean, this might be why it's not happening, just because Michael Gray is going to have to put the kibosh. It's like this is a Doctor Who episode in and of itself. Moffat is coming back to write an episode of Doctor Who, and Eric Sayward and Michael Gray have to team together. Shockingly, what canceled Doctor Who in the 80s, and Eric Sayward, who was canceled by him, team up in order to thwart an assassination attempt from the BBC Secret Service that Stephen Moffat has in his power as a returning Doctor Who writer and former showrunner.
This might be simultaneously our worst and best Fluid Link answer ever.
It might be. So, the promise to carry out a BBC assassination is what will lure Stephen Moffat back to writing.
It's his
Doctor
cold
Who.
bloodlust. That's what it'll do.
Because he must have it, right? He must have some sort of bloodlust at his predecessors. Like, you know what? I was running the show before, and I was just trying to make my name and before I was showrunner, but now look at me, eh?
And his code name is Bunny. There you go. Just to bring that full circle.
Yeah. Bunny
CE Bunny Moffat.
Yep.
That's exactly what he's going to be. Yeah. There we go. Perfect. So that's how you lure him back right there. The threat of murder. Perfect. Solved it. Once again. All right. Next fluid link. Nickname V2.0.23 Enquest63 on Twitter asks, if you had to introduce someone to Doctor Who using only a historical episode / serial, which one would you pick and why? Wow, introduce. It's rare. People often say, "Oh, here's this spacey one, and there's or this one, and then here's a bunch of timey-wimey and stuff." But no one ever sort of says, "Here, watch Marco Polo." You can't watch Marco Polo, but it's a rare thing. So yeah, which historical story would you choose?
Well, there aren't that many, so
Well, there's a lot in the 60s, and serial episode, we could probably pick, like Shakespeare Code or something like that, like something that's set in the past, I suppose, that's not a pure historical, but, historically based. Technically Blink is kind of historical.
This might be weird, but Black Orchid, because it's short and fun.
Whoa! Off the board, Black Orchid. Man, that is shocking.
Well, it's only 2 episodes, and if you like Black Orchid, you're going to like the rest of Doctor Who, so.
What if you hate Black Orchid, though?
Well, then, Doctor Who's not for you, I guess. Never mind.
I don't know. Black Orchid. Chris, what do you think? Black Orchid?
I'm going to take a bit of a liberal approach here and say all the missing stories, we got them back. Philip Morris came through.
Yeah. He's finally checked that, Phil. Okay, you call my bluff. Here they all are, right here.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Omni Rumor, it was right.
Yeah.
Massacre would be my pick.
Massacre is happy story.
Yeah, it's a nice, strong companion. You got the Doctor doing, the dual, or Hartnell doing the dual role,
so to speak. Yeah,
and it's a really good story. At least from what I can gather from watching the so-called recon.
Mm-hmm. Oh boy, that is a good one. That is a good one. I quite enjoy.
It's only 4 episodes, so it's not like it's super long.
Yeah, it's true. Man, historical episodes last year. Part of me. These are. I both enjoy the Massacre and Black Orchid equally. One might say. Just for variety, maybe I'll try and lean towards a modern Who episode. I know I mentioned Shakespeare Code. I'm just sort of like,
so no gunfighters.
No gunfighters. No, I'm gonna say, hey, you know what? Here, watch this story set in this sort of time. You know what? What the hell? I'm gonna go with Thin Ice.
That's not a bad one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Set in the Frost Fair, Peter Capaldi, Bill, which I quite enjoy. Because it's I like that it's Doctor Who punching a racist, which is
that's always good.
Always good. He looks great in his costume and everything. A child dies, which you never see in Doctor Who. So
which is the main reason, because of your evil bloodlust.
Right, exactly. And it's pretty, if you look past the fact that there's this giant creature in the Thames and stuff, which could very much be there, it's pretty much a pure historical, written by Sarah Dollard. So, yeah, I'm going to go with Thin Ice. Thin Ice is my suggestion if you're going to try and lure someone.
And also, if you're trying to lure somebody in, showing them old Doctor Who is not the way to do it in the first place. Much as I do enjoy old Doctor Who, I would show them a new one too. If you're right, I think.
Yeah, just for variety's sake too, we can always go back to the classic. But yeah, Thin Ice is my suggestion. So there you go, Black Orchid, Thin Ice, or the Massacre, assuming that it exists, which is your typical Doctor Who argument. Assuming it exists, start off with this.
I'm half surprised you didn't pick Villa Diodati.
Oh,
that's a good one too. But it's on his. Well, it is kind of standalone. That is a very good episode too. Damn. There's lots of them, but I don't know.
Thin Ice feels more historical.
Thin Ice does feel a little more representative of a good, proper, fun historical romp. Yeah, sort of thing. So, yeah, sticking with it.
It's definitely more standalone than
Diodati. Yeah,
Diodati.
As good as it was. Yeah. All right. Next, Fluid Link. The question's this from Robert Collins, Robert L. Collins on Twitter. What annoys you the most when rumors of missing episodes start flying around the internet? Is there any part of these rumors that make you smile? What annoys you most about missing episode rumors? And what they do they make you smile to think, oh, bless, this is kind of fun? I don't know. I don't know if they make me smile as much.
They don't either annoy me either, really. I'm just kind of middling of the road on them. I don't pay much attention to them because they 90% of the time don't amount to much. I'll tell you what does annoy me. I remember, and this is years and years ago, but I just remember either on Twitter or Gallifrey Base, probably Gallifrey Base, where a whole bunch of people are like, if we just hit every garage sale in England, we're going to find him. I'm like, okay. In the words of the American South, bless your heart.
Yeah, it's very wonderful and naive, isn't it? That you think. I mean, I was there. Let's face it. I still occasionally get emails from crates.com because I signed up for an account to look at the shipping thing that Phil Morris shipped back with 3 tons of tapes and everything else. I'm like, this is neat. Maybe I could stumble on something again. I never stumble on something again, but there was a certain DIY nature to the Omni rumor that was kind of fun at the time because we thought that maybe there was going to actually be something at the end of the rainbow, and there was something, but it wasn't anywhere near as much as we thought it would be. So it's kind of quaint when I think about the Omni rumor again, but it's kind of soured me a lot because I'm thinking, well, if nothing's good, listen, the Omni rumor, it wasn't fully true, and so therefore I am taking everything with a massive bag of salt. But and
disappointment is the official word of Doctor Who fandom.
Yeah, I just it's affected me to the point where how will I actually react once a new missing episode does show up? Will years of resentment and disappointment sort of go, oh, good. Will I know how to react to good news when it comes to missing episodes again, is what I mean to say,
I found, and I should give Chris room to talk here, but I found with pop culture generally, I'm just kind of like, all right, even if I like it. And it's like people get so mad about Star Wars. I'm like, Star Wars is a thing I watch at breakfast time now. It's fine. I don't have a problem with it. Book of Boba Fett, he's on a Rancor, cool, whatever.
Right.
I just don't have the capacity to get mad or extremely excited about this stuff anymore.
Mm-hmm. Chris, what about you? Do you get excited about, is there things you like or dislike about missing episode rumors?
I'm a pessimist by nature, so
of course.
Things like missing episode rumors kind of let my inner optimist kind of get a little hope.
Oh.
And then the hope gets dashed quite often, of course. But
wow. That was a real roller coaster going on there.
I had to pick like a disappointing thing, and this is going to sound really dumb because obviously anything that comes back is fantastic and appreciated and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And we know there's stuff out there that's not yet been returned. We just don't know what.
Yeah. Paul Vanessa said it. He said it on this podcast, folks. It's confirmed.
There's at least two or three.
Cool. Yeah.
Episodes. But if I would say my biggest disappointment would be that when stuff comes back, it's never complete. Like if somebody found, I'm going to go back to the massacre. Somebody found the massacre and found like episode 3. That's cool.
Right.
I kind of want all 4.
We were so spoiled by Tomb of the Cybermen. It's like, oh wow.
Tomb and Enemy and Web.
That's true for the most part.
Because Philip Morris found all of Web and then lost the one.
Yeah, that's 12 years ago now. Web Part 3 has been missing.
God, it is
missing for
it doesn't
long.
Seem like it's 12 years ago.
Well, I mean, they discovered it in 2011 and it came out in 2013. But yeah, it's Web Part 3 has been missing basically for longer than it was ever not missing. Anyway, yeah, I know what you mean. And then sometimes even it's like, oh wow, we found episode 3 of the Faceless Ones, but like it's missing like 2 minutes of this because the film copy is bad. Like, that even feels like,
or the Australians chopped it to crap.
Or well, that was a fun thing about the Underwater Menace is that it matched perfectly with the it was obviously from Australia because it matched perfectly with the censor bits that were taken out and kept, which is kind of exciting. And oh wow, we can put this back together again. This is kind of neat. So
yeah. Or the other disappointing thing would be that they just found like a garbage episode. Space Pirates episode 4.
Wow.
Hey.
No. If Space Pirates got found, even if I don't care one way or the other about it, Steven will be so happy, and that will make me happy.
Man.
If you don't talk about it, that's the Faustian bargain. You cannot talk about the Space Pirates if it comes back.
Never.
And the minute you do, it disappears.
God, that's a Doctor Who episode right there. That's terrible. That's like, I can never speak.
That's the title, Doctor Who and the Intractable Bargain.
It's like Carvanista talking about, the division and everything. If I even mention it once, my head explodes, just like Donna Noble. That would be such a thing. Can you imagine if we get like episode 5 of the Space Pirates and we see Dama Sigri on? We have no idea what Dama Sigri looked like because he's not even seen any pictures at all.
It really hasn't crossed my mind at all. I got to tell you,
Warren, I lie awake thinking about this.
I'm sure you do, but I can tell you, I do not.
Yeah, he's had to hire a marriage counselor because of this.
No.
Stop talking about this. I beg of you, Eric.
Erica's full on the Space Pirates train. Don't you worry. Don't you worry. Oh, such hope.
Again, wasn't really worried.
No, I know. I think, I don't know. I still do think about those heady days in May, June, all the way up to October of 2013 about how, exciting a time it was in the
Honestly,
missing episodes community. But
I had more fun watching you be an internet detective than I did with the actual episode itself. It was really fun to watch you rather cleverly track all this stuff down.
Rather cleverly. People on forums. I mean, I was never like, well, I don't know. Looking back in 2013, like how duped was I? The fact that like a lot of like prominent names were like on board with this thing and believing it and thinking it was happening, and it wasn't like it came from the top down, I think, rather than the ground up. And then they sort of meshed in the middle, and everyone's like, well, wait a second, I heard this from this person who's like on Doctor Who, but I'm the one that found it on the forum and told you about it. Oh, well, okay, well.
See, I think I was most impressed when you signed up for a thing tracking shipping containers
and
the
sea
giant
rates.
super tankers. I was like, that's next level commitment is what that is.
Oh man, I was so committed. Looking on Google Maps for somewhere in Wigan, see if we could see where the film cans.
The one adventure I could never have is watching you do all this stuff. Because I just don't care enough.
I know. This is back when I had a boring office job, and I could do these things. Now I work for a living, so to speak.
See, but the whole work, I don't know how we got to this point, but the whole work from home movement has to stop, if only to get you back in a boring office job to do more of this insane nonsense.
I know. I got so much done when it came to Doctor Who nonsense back in those days. Oh, man. Not anymore. Not anymore, alas. All right. Next fluid link. John Hole asks this: what do you think is the most annoying costume to wear on Doctor Who? I think Wendy Padbury's bubble wrap dress and 5 Doctors must be high. Everyone would take a pop at you. That's true. That would invite unwanted attention. A bubble wrap dress, the most annoying costume. So not like a creature outfit, like an actual.
We're talking like an outfit for a person, not
like an
a
outfit.
monster.
Yeah, like not like wearing I would hate to wear the K1 robot from Robot because that would be
or the Swarm outfit.
Swarm outfit. I would wear the Swarm outfit. But
if it's a monster, then if we can't pick a monster, then
yeah.
We'll exclude those.
Yeah, so excluding monsters, just outfits. Most annoying to wear. I mean, I can think of ones that I'd want to wear, like Skagra's from Shada.
That's annoying to others, is what that is.
Oh God, what boss outfit that is.
Shudigawa needs that silver.
How is he not in
suit.
that? How is Shudigawa not wearing Christopher Neam's outfit from Shada? That needs to happen.
He could pull it off.
Damn right, he could pull it off. God, that should be his outfit. That should be his main outfit going back to that previous episode.
I think Time Lord outfits, the formal ones, would be quite annoying to wear.
Rachel Talalay wore one.
That's true. Yeah.
I had one on. So this is really stiff and uncomfortable.
Exactly.
So, like we have firsthand proof of how annoying those outfits are. The collars, the Time Lord collars, which are only worn for ceremonial occasions, but kind of like Mounties in American-made productions. They're wearing their ceremonial outfits every second of the day, and it's not true. Outfit that is annoying to wear. You know what? Honestly, I mean, I love Tom Baker's scarf and everything like that, and I have an official BBC Lionheart one, and Erica is very slowly making one, a season 18 one. But let's face it, if you're under the hot BBC studio lights, a big giant 28-foot long scarf is not something that you want to wear, but you have to wear it. You know, you're Doctor Who, you're wearing that scarf. I mean, I've never worn one at Gallifrey 1, and I don't think I'd want to. Like, oh wow, it's like 24 degrees outside, let's go outside. Oh, I'm wearing this damn scarf.
I have more than once for the live show, but
not for
not
any
much outside of that.
No, because it's uncomfortable, isn't it? Like wearing a massive scarf is not as fun as you think it is. Yeah.
I'm gonna suggest the complete opposite of that.
Okay.
And Mark Strickson's Speedo in Planet of Fire.
It does look uncomfortable.
Wearing nothing but that, probably annoying.
Especially on ice planets, that'd be not great.
Yeah. That's a Shooty Gatwa. You might enjoy wearing that because he works out and eats right. Yeah. Tom Baker scarf, Mark Strickson's Speedo. Warren, do you have a suggestion for a costume that's annoying to wear?
Well, I mean, Colin Baker's costume would be annoying to everybody. And he's got to look at it in the mirror and go, oh, God, what am I doing?
Oh, no,
what am I doing with my life?
I mean, Colin Baker's famous thing is that he says, you know, at least I didn't have to look at it because I was wearing it. So
I think the stewardess outfit that Jan Fielding had to wear, because she seemed annoyed the whole time. So I'm assuming it was very annoying to wear.
Yeah, and they had heels on.
Also, Nissa's outfit, her princess outfit, looked pretty too warm for most of the locations she was in.
Really, Prince? I don't know. Well, they got rid of the princess outfit and just put her in trousers shortly afterwards. Well, I like the little fairy skirt. I think it's kind of a cute little look. And then
no, I just mean like that velour thing from Traken just looked too damn warm, like you'd be boiling in it,
like the top or something. I know she reminded me of Laura Branigan after she switched to the pants, but or trousers. I keep saying trousers. Ladies, I don't know. So Traken, you wouldn't want to wear a Traken outfit then, is what you're saying.
Pretty much anything in Traken looks like a pain in the butt to wear.
It is very sort of cut price Shakespearean, isn't it? It is kind of like, it's like, why are we wearing these giant robes? Why are we doing this? There's leaves everywhere. We are just trailing leaves all over this damn planet because of our long cloaks. And
also the spacesuits and the invisible enemy look like they're all infected, so they don't care. But they look like they were a pain to walk around in a non-space environment.
Or maybe the giant space helmet, clear space helmet from Terminus that looked kind of like a clear Jiffy Pop that has been on the burner for too long, and like they're wearing this over the end, it quite clearly fogging up and everything. That would be the worst to wear. And then you have to like twist them. Like for some reason you have to turn them at a 45-degree angle or something to take them off your head. And they never wear them because they're stupid. So
if I was the Nimon, I would be annoyed that I was wearing some sort of like cloth over, like, because you're in the Nimon, you don't have to wear a damn thing. You just walk around commando. Who's going to tell you otherwise? You're the Nimon.
Right? I've got horns that shoot lasers. Why would I care about a tarp?
Yeah.
Or they can wear Mark Strickson's Speedo.
Nimon and Mark Strickson's Speedo. That would be very uncomfortable, because I'm pretty sure the Nimon are, how do I put this, not shrinking violets.
No, yeah, but so here, Nimon, here's your option. You can either wear a cloth around your nether regions, or here is Mark Strickson's Speedo. What is it to be?
Yeah, you just laser you and go on and get on with this day.
I will wear the Speedo.
How many little Nimons have you seen today?
How many Nimons?
3. All right, let's do one more. One more Fluid Link. And it is this. Here is the question. Here's a Dalhart Cloud Chasing, Dalhart WX on Twitter asks, as a studio exec with no understanding of the show.
So a studio exec, yes.
Yes, exactly. You decide to do a big budget adaptation of Doctor Who. You decide to use the Fourth Doctor. Who do you cast to be a wholly inaccurate Americanized version of Tom Baker's Doctor?
I'm going to keep it in the family.
Okay.
Mark Lynn Baker.
Mark Lynn Baker from Perfect Strangers. He's also shown up in many things since then. He was in an episode of the U.S. version of Ghost.
Passing likeness, yeah.
It does kind of, yeah. I thought Mark Lynn Baker looks more like
Baker from the 80s.
I thought Mark Lynn Baker actually was more of a Louis Trapani from Podshock. similar hair and height. Let's try and keep it. Sorry, everyone born after 1989, but we're probably going to make this an 80s thing, because I'm thinking of actors in the 80s who maybe would have been like Tom Baker.
Do you want to go with somebody who looks like Tom Baker? Do you want to go with somebody high profile? Somebody just like drop dead gorgeous?
I'm thinking which one was Tom Wopat from Dukes of Hazzard, or whatever the dark-haired guy
was the better looking of those two.
Yeah, John Schneider. Yeah, I reminded me of Robert Plant when I was a kid. Who's the dark-haired one on Starsky and Hutch? Not David Soul, but the other one's got 3 names and is not Markland Baker. I don't.
I don't know.
I don't know either. Can't remember his name.
I never watched Starsky and Hutch.
I don't think I did either. Well, maybe I did a little bit. I know Ben Stiller plays him in the movies. Come on, Warren, you're a wash with a 1980s.
Well, I'm going 1970s here, but
okay.
I have 2 alternate versions of Tom Baker.
Okay.
One is Ron Palillo. I had to look up his name, who played Horseshack on Welcome Back, Kotter. And he's basically playing Horseshack as Doctor Who in this version.
Oh, well,
and the other, much better, is Tim Reed from WKRP in Cincinnati. I think he would make an awesome 4th Doctor.
Damn.
Venus Flytrap himself.
Venus Flytrap.
Yeah, Venus Flytrap himself, exactly.
My
yes, he would
booby
be.
children.
I just imagine him in the outfit with the hat. It would rule. He would be great.
I cannot get past that, man. Tim Reed as American Doctor Who, as Venus Flytrap as Doctor Who.
I mean, he'd still be Tom Baker-ish, but and funny and all that. But he would also have the laid-back style of Venus Flytrap.
Let me tell you, when I played for the company slow pitch team back when I had a boring office job and we had company slow pitch teams, I purposely got like proper baseball pants with pinstripes, and the jersey that we wore and everything, and stirrups, and most crucially a batting helmet, not a hat, a batting helmet, just because of Venus Flytrap's outfit in the baseball episode of WKRP in Cincinnati. Purely because of that. So, Warren, I am 100% on board with Venus Flytrap as Doctor Who. He would so rule. Because it would probably come out like in 1984-85, just after Beverly Hills Cop was a big hit. And they would think, you know what? Yeah, let's let's face it. A lot of black people weren't helming movies back in the 80s, but damn it, we're recreating history. And so yeah, Tim Reed, Venus Flytrap, Doctor Who, terrible movie. It would make no sense, and it would be like the Daleks would have legs or something like that. It would be jive talking TARDIS console, which everyone was terrified about when the Paul McGann movie came along. But Tim Reed as Doctor Who, yeah. I'm down with it. I'd love that. A one-off. Perfect. And it'd have the WKRP theme song at the end and everything too. And
oh yeah, to completely confuse everybody.
It would just be completely nuts.
And he just materializes in the WKRP offices.
Yeah, man. Folks, we solved a lot of...
Because this is a studio exec making poor decisions, the one-off can never actually come out on home video because they can't afford the rights for the music.
But also, this studio exec made a great decision, which was Tim Reed as Fourth Doctor.
Right, because he has no idea. Just like, a broken clock is right twice a day, and this studio exec was.
Exactly. He's this random studio executive succeeded despite himself.
Yeah, but as you say, Chris, it'd be like stuck in rights purgatory. It would finally come out like as a double-sided disc with like Inchon or something like that from 1981.
Wow. So baby, if you've ever wondered.
whatever became of me. I'm living on the air in Cincinnati. WKRP.
Glorious show, by the way.
Wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. All right, folks. Thanks very much for playing Fluid Links. I haven't heard that in a while. I haven't heard that Fluid Links theme in a while. And it's on a game show, but we keep saying we play it, which is always fun. So, all right, last bit of thing to do. Let's look back in history. How about in the Timelash, folks, where we look back in history at things that happened this week in Doctor Who. Once again, we're wrapping this up. This is we're closing it out. Probably the end of June, I think, is when it's going to happen. So enjoy the Timelash because we've already done like 2 years of this. We've probably repeated ourselves several times. So we'll look back. This day, May 21st is where we're starting here, folks. Lots of stuff happened. May 21st. Chris, are you angling to get to something? What do you got there?
Yep.
What do you got?
Debut broadcast of the Gunfighters in 1966. Episode 4 of the OK Corral achieves Doctor Who's lowest ever appreciation index, 30%.
30%.
No nothing idiots.
So notorious that Rex Tucker, the director, took his name off the episode. Thought, this is going to get 30%. I am out. Take me off of this. They rejiggered a whole bunch of stuff in editing. That's why he took his name off. But of course, it's brilliant. Now, people then didn't know what was right about the world and Doctor Who's place in it. So clearly they were wrong. But
let's past shame people.
Yeah,
I mean, why not?
It's amusing, actually. I'm just looking at May 21st, 1965, which is an interesting day. Peter Purvis, for one, is contracted to play the new companion, now called Stephen Taylor, through the Mythmakers. That's excellent. And Maureen O'Brien's contract is extended through the Mythmakers, and as she would find out, no further.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. She came back from vacation saying, hey, well, here we are, ready for a whole new season of Doctor Who. Yeah, about that, Maureen. You're gone. Which is amusing to me. Anything else happening May 21st?
Yes.
I see some stuff. What do you got, Warren?
Lots and lots and lots.
Yeah, tons of stuff.
1974, a labour dispute cancels recording for Robot at BBC Television Centre Studio 3 in White City, London, for two reasons. One, immediately, Mr. Kettlewell's "oh no" came to mind.
Right.
And also, in the picture, the robot has one hand sort of raised upwards, and it's off. You can't see his hand on the picture.
Right.
So I like to imagine he's holding up a picket sign.
Picket sign. Or he's holding up the ladder that had to remain in place because it was a scene shifters strike that was affecting the recording for Robot.
Poor guy inside is like, I'm not actually a labor creating robots, right? I'm a guy in a suit. What the hell?
Don't touch that ladder, whatever you do. That same labor dispute forced Blue Peter to record on the Doctor Who set because they didn't put up the Blue Peter set. So yeah, the robot laboratory set was a setting for an episode of Blue Peter. That same labor dispute, the first and only labor dispute in Doctor Who history. Mm-hmm. Never happened again.
Or indeed UK history.
Yeah. Fresh off the death of John Pertwee the previous day, May 20th, 1996, the Fox network on May 21st, 1996 announces its fall 96 schedule. Doctor Who is not included, with poor ratings prompting the network to drop the program. So for a whole 6 days after it aired on Fox, basically people were thinking, maybe we can have Doctor Who coming in the fall. No, it was really one and done, and I didn't realize how quickly that was the case back in those days. Yeah,
it's all ITV's fault somehow.
No, as we mentioned, it's Rose's fault, or it's more likely. I think wasn't Sliders.
No, I meant ITV Edmonton for showing it earlier.
That's why I see you. I thought it was ITV in the UK. Didn't they go with Sliders? Wasn't Sliders the thing that got the money for that was going to be originally for Doctor Who? And they got you know what? Sliders is cheaper. We can make it here.
But it's beloved, so I guess they made the right decision.
Is it though? Is it really?
Yeah, there are a ton. I don't care. I never really cared about one way or the other. But there are lots of Sliders fans who look at it fondly.
Jerry O'Connell fans out there, I guess. Who else is in that? John Rhys Davies.
John Rhys Davies.
Yeah, the GOAT, John Rhys Davies.
Yeah. Chris, do you have any other things that happened on May 21st that you want to mention, or?
John Pertwee contracted to play the Third Doctor for at least 21 episodes.
At least 21. That's on May 21st, 1969.
And then fast forward, what's that, 45 years? Billie Piper cast as Rose Tyler.
Cast. Was she announced or was she just cast? I don't know if that's what that means. I think it's just cast. Basically just cast as Doctor Who's Rose Tyler. I had no idea who Billie Piper was back then.
No, me neither.
Not being a listener of popular music at the time, or indeed still. So, thinking, all right, fine with me. Whoever this is. Don't know who Millie Gibson is either, so, But
which you said when she was 10 years old. Or no, she wasn't even... was she born? Yeah, was she born?
She was not even born.
Not even born, yeah.
Oh, it's shocking. Shocking. Yeah. Shocking. All right. Let's move on. May 22nd. 1968. All 5 episodes of The Mind Robber are trimmed from 25 minutes in length to 20 minutes in order to ease the workload of the regular cast. How about that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Basically,
it almost seems like a dangerous precedent to set. Like, why that? Why that one? Why not shave off 5 minutes of every War Games episode, because there's 10 of them.
Well, I mean, it happened because they added that extra episode because Derek Sherwin hated the Dominators, and so they've chunked that and they had to add an episode to Mind Robber, which only featured the three actors. It's like, no. You can't just dump a whole episode on us, just us carrying it. Shorten all the episodes. So, in a way, that was almost a strike by Troughton and the main cast, but... that was towards the end of that production block, too. That was like, I think that was the end, wasn't it? Yeah, that was it. That was the end of that whole 1 year production. It started with like the Abominable Snowmen all the way back in, May of 1967 or something like that. So like that's an epic year-long trek of making Doctor Who, as they did back in those days. But anyway, a whole bunch of other stuff happened on that day. Recordings and broadcasts, including the debut broadcast of episode 1 of everyone's favorite story, The Chase. The Executioners aired May 22nd, 1965. Yeah. Not the worst episode of The Chase, but not the best either.
No, there's a sentence you don't hear very often.
No.
Like the next day on the 23rd, where we've got debut broadcast of Aztecs episode 1.
Oh, that's a better episode.
Something that is quite enjoyable.
Yeah, episode aired on BBC One with grave robber Barbara and her sticky fingers causing problems for Doctor Who.
Joyful, over the top John Ringham.
Oh, he is good in that, isn't he? Yeah,
He's so good in that.
he is very good. John Ringham.
Toxel.
That's Toxel. I mentioned it earlier, but due to a labor dispute, Blue Peter's recorded on the set of Robot on May 23rd, 1974. The exact same day that Terrence Dix was retroactively commissioned to write Robot, or Robot, and Bob Baker and Dave Martin are commissioned to provide a storyline for the Sontaran experiment. A lot was happening that exact day in 1974, May 23rd. How about that? With the Philadelphia Flyers celebrating their first ever Stanley Cup win 4 days prior to that, because I remember these things. So there, a bunch of other stuff happened. Making of things. I do love that whenever Doctor Who shoots some model stuff, the BBC Television Centre Puppet Theatre, it makes me laugh.
Yes, it does. As it should.
As it should. Puppet theater.
Indeed, yes.
There's a whole puppet theater just dedicated to puppets at the BBC Television Centre. Where's the Blu-ray VAM on that? Just the puppet theater. I want to see that.
And it's just them lying limp, not doing anything for hours on end.
50-year-old puppets just lying there, decomposing.
Rotting. It's like when you find the Mutant Ninja Turtle animatronics and they look like they've crawled out of hell.
Gross. Moving on. May 24th, birthday of Graham Williams, writer, director, and producer of Doctor Who back in the post-Hinchcliffe days. And just a charming era of Doctor Who, and rife with difficulty as well. So, also the same day, the death of Robert Holmes, 1986. Very sad indeed. Because I liked Robert Holmes. Me and only me. I have to keep holding a torch for.
It's never really come up. How
Robert
good a writer
Holmes. I know, it's just rare. It's rare. One of the great underrated writers of Doctor Who was Robert Holmes. But yeah. Other things happened that day in history, in the press, leavings and arrivals. 1980, Lalla Ward reveals in a press interview that she is leaving Doctor Who. That happened May 24th, 1980. 24 years after that, the BBC announces to the press that Billie Piper will play Rose Tyler. How about that? 2 days after she was cast.
1965, just to go back a bit, William Hartnell's contract extended through the Celestial Toymaker. And then, of course, with the Doctor being invisible through most of the story and whatnot. There were questions about whether he'd still be there after that.
That's true. That the whole, because Tosh and Wiles wanted to get rid of him, and they probably thought, what if we just, his contract is through the Celestial Toymaker. What if we just made that his last episode? No, I'm talking through my teeth, but what if we just made that his last episode? And that was the rumor that when he came back from being invisible and that, oh my God, you're a different person. Well, let's carry on with our adventures. But that's not what happened. So
Yeah.
That's not what happened at all. He stayed for just a few more episodes after that.
Same day though.
Mm-hmm.
Terry Nation commissioned to write a six-part
Yes.
serial for
And it
broadcast
never happened
in November,
again.
December 65.
Yeah, and then who was it? I can't remember. The controller BBC one says, you know what? I like the Daleks. We need more Daleks in there. What if we made this 6-part story a 12-part story and just made it all about Daleks? Daleks.
Was he an old white guy with a cigar in his mouth?
I was going to say, he sounds like a used car salesman who's talking to the kid with his dad. You like Daleks, kid? I got some Daleks here for you. Take your dad with you.
Can't remember his
Joey,
name.
do you like gladiator movies?
Yeah, look at the fins on this Dalek. It should make you feel like a big man.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. And that killed the Daleks off forever with overpopularity. So, yeah. Commission. Initially he said, okay, I'll write you 6 episodes, but as long as someone else can write the other 6, and it was Dennis Spooner who wrote it, so. But Terry Nation probably collected all the royalties and used it to write episodes of MacGyver. May 25th. Let's have a look at what happened on May 25th. Annika Wills, 1966, cast as new companion Polly. Is contracted for 18 episodes, starting with The War Machine. Oddly enough, no Michael Craze signing a contract the same day. I'm sure spoiler alert for tomorrow. We'll probably see it, but Annika Wills is cast as the new companion. So I don't know if they didn't. I'm going to look ahead. There it is. Michael Craze has contract for some reason they drew it up contracts on different days. But anyway,
Maybe that's just when they could make the meetings to have the final discussions and sign the papers.
That's true. Yeah. What else happened? Anything else jumping in on May the 25th?
I'd like to save 1977 for you. Sorry, go ahead, Chris.
This is in 1971. Robert Sloman commissioned to provide a storyline for the Daleks in London, which eventually became Day of the Daleks.
Yeah, I was wondering if
in a roundabout way, yeah, they sort of canceled one, and
way.
we'll put Daleks in Day of the Daleks first because we need a hook. And so, tell you what, Robert Sloman, you can write what will be the greatest story we ever wrote, which is the Time Monster instead. So that's what he did. Same day, Malcolm Hulk is commissioned to write the Sea Devils. So clearly, the script department was calling people for in some meetings that day, but.
Or 1977?
No,
Yeah.
I want that. I want to cede that one to Stephen because I think he will wax poetic about this.
Recording for Horror of Fang Rock takes place at Pebble Mill Studio A in Birmingham, West Midlands, due to a scheduling crunch at BBC TV Centre. This is the first time the principal studio recording for Doctor Who occurs outside of London. Yeah, I think there was a scheduling crunch because I want to think it's because they dropped the original Terrence Dicks story, and so they had to shift things around a little bit to get that script up and running, so that's why they made Invisible Enemy first, and this is why we can't make Horror Fang Rock now, because it's so they went to Birmingham. And everyone in Birmingham tried really hard, probably harder than they thought, because, the big Doctor Who's coming here. We were going to prove to the BBC that we can make stuff in Pebble Mill as well. And so they did. That's great. Horror Fang Rock is great. Absolutely fantastic. So
I agree.
That's why Doctor Who never went back to BBC Pebble Mill again.
Except for the chat show.
Except for the chat show. Pebble Mill at 1. Yeah. Which you can see one on, I think there's a couple times that Patrick Troughton's on it to celebrate anniversaries or something like that. But anyway, moving on. May 26th, the birthday of Doctor Who director Julia Smith in 1927. She directed everybody's favorite, The Smugglers and Underwater Menace. Everyone loves The Underwater Menace.
Boy, do I.
Right? Everyone. And as I mentioned, Michael Cray's cast his new companion, Ben Jackson. So, clearly wasn't there that day to sign the contract. Anything else jumping out at you for May 26th that you want to talk about?
2011?
What happened in 2011, Warren?
The BBC announces that Piers Wenger will step down as executive producer in September. They have to find a new load-bearing winger. I only say that so I can use the phrase load-bearing winger.
Load-bearing winger.
I don't know where I came up with that, why I came up with that. But
2007 debut broadcast of Human Nature.
Oh,
that's
so
a good
fantastic. One. So fantastic.
Yeah, that's a good story. Good episode. Yeah.
Paul did some great work there.
Yeah. And the death of Anthony Stephen, writer of The Twin Dilemma, 1990. That's young. He died young. Not because of The Twin Dilemma, I assume, but
73 years old.
I guess he wasn't. I guess he was old when he wrote The Twin Dilemma. I just assumed that young men were writing Doctor Who back in those days. But
why would you assume that?
I don't know, Warren. I really don't know. Anyway, it's fascinating to think that we'll throw the first Doctor Who adventure to this old person who's never written for Doctor Who again and would never write for TV again after The Twin Dilemma. Anyway, let's close it out. May 27th, the birthday of Peter Ling. He wrote The Mind Robber, the aforementioned robber, born 1926 on May 27th. Anything else jumping at you that you want to talk about that happened on May 27th, our final day of this week's Timelash?
Nicholas Courtney, 1969, contracted for at least 21 episodes during season 7.
That's so fascinating that Pertwee was contracted for at least 21. Like, did they not know how many stories were going to be, how many episodes are going to be in the next season of Doctor Who? Because they just said, we'll start with 21 and we'll go from there. It's quite interesting. Quite interesting indeed.
I imagine 1976 will intrigue Warren.
What happened in 1976, Warren?
Yes. Staff clearance is sought for Robert Holmes to break the deadly assassin, once again trotting out my last week's gag of the airplane guys with the flashlights. Staff clearance for Robert Holmes. Let him through. But also, I wonder what the hell that means, staff clearance.
Robert Holmes...
Because he was a scriptwriter. Yeah,
he's on staff, they had to get clearance for him. So, listen, things are falling through. We got to get him to write this. Which they did a lot back in those days. But... 1988, asbestos is found at BBC Television Centre, forcing the cancellation of the first studio session for The Greatest Show in the Galaxy, scheduled for May 31st to June 2nd.
For me, this is that Larry David gif where he's like,
Well, I mean, Greatest Show in the Galaxy is commendable in that this happens...
No, I'll stop you right there.
May 27th, this happens. And the original dates are scheduled for the 31st. I don't remember when the first studio session actually went. I don't think it was delayed that much, but they basically quickly arranged to shoot it in a car park at BBC Elstree Studios under a tent. I mean, it was fortuitous that the episode was actually, taking place in a circus tent. So it was essentially shot on location in a car park using OB video and stuff. And it looks great. It looks great. I think it's absolutely fantastic. They saved it from extinction. It was nearly canceled during production because of this asbestos scare.
It almost seems like a COVID kind of a solution. Let's do this in the car park
and
the outdoors.
Yeah, kind of does actually. And I'll tell you what. Finally, on 1996, May 27th, Doctor Who, the TV movie, is broadcast on BBC One for the first time. Gets close to 10 million viewers. Actually does quite well. But as we reported previously, before it even aired on the BBC, it was already sunk. It was only ever going to be for one night only, and it was. So the Paul McGann era begins and ends on BBC One, May 27th, 1996.
Grand opening, grand closing.
Yep. All right, folks. Hope you enjoyed that epic length episode of Fluid Links and everything else. Boy, we sure hope some more news happens over the course of the next week, so we have stuff to talk about next week. Maybe we'll just do a whole other episode of Fluid Links.
Put this out tomorrow, and a trailer will drop.
That's true. Some massive news will happen or something we'll have to talk about. Maybe 2 unloved episodes of Doctor Who will be returned to the archives, and we'll be able to talk about that next week. Who can tell, folks? Who can tell? Until next time, though, I am Stephen in Edmonton.
Warren in Vancouver.
And Chris in Edmonton.
So long for now.
You've been listening to Radio Free Skaro, Find us online at radiofreescaro.com, follow us on Twitter and Tumblr at Radio Free Skaro, subscribe to us on iTunes, and donate to the show at patreon.com/Radio Free Skaro. Thank you.